Good evening from New York. I'm Chris Hayes. Americans are on the streets in protest again tonight, 11 days since the killing of George Floyd by a Minneapolis police officer. So far, the police have been peaceful. We're going to keep an eye on the situation throughout the evening. Because with these mass protests, we are seeing tons of police activity and tons of people with smartphones out on the streets recording the police doing their jobs. It's given us more of a picture of what policing in America looks like than we almost ever get, even if, in fairness, it is not perfectly representative. And as I start tonight, I want to be clear up front that policing in America can be very dangerous and is very dangerous in this moment. There have been several officers around the country who've been shot, who've been injured. Retired St. Louis police captain David Dorn was killed responding to an alarm at a pawn shop just earlier this week. In Buffalo, New York, which we will discuss shortly, 3 officers were seriously injured when an SUV just plowed into a group of law enforcement that were out on the street. Being a police officer is not an easy job by any means. It is certainly not an easy job under conditions of maximum stress. But it is very hard to look at the videos that we have been seeing from all across the country, and particularly this one video we're going to show you, which you may have seen, and not conclude that there is something deeply broken in the culture of policing in America, something that is at the core of the crisis this nation is now experiencing. Now, this is a really upsetting and graphic video, so be warned. In downtown Buffalo last night, 75-year-old Martin Gugino, who's a longtime peace activist there, approached a group of officers at a protest, just walking up to them. Here's what happened next.
He's bleeding out of his ear. He's bleeding out of his ear. Get him better.
That's just 15 seconds of that video that you saw. And in just those 15 seconds, that scene is an entire syllabus on how the culture of policing is broken. What has happened to it, how it operates, and how it has essentially created a whole that is worse than the sum of its parts. First, to begin with, you have an officer shoving an elderly protester entirely unprovoked for no earthly justifiable reason, just pure escalatory violence, which results in a 75-year-old man hitting the ground with blood pooling from his head onto the concrete, as you see there. And then there's a moment where one of the police officers goes to help him, which, of course, is the natural human reaction. You can see one of the officers bends down to help. It's almost primal, the reaction, before another officer stops him, puts his hand on his back and pushes him forward. And I would bet to you that is the human reaction to stop and help that almost all of these officers would have if they were not in uniform in that circumstance. I have to believe if those officers you see there were walking down the sidewalk just as normal civilians and they saw someone push an old man and that old man fell and his head was bleeding on the concrete, they would probably stop to help and attend to the old man bleeding on the side of the street. But not in this context. In this context, that impulse, that human impulse, is literally yanked back. Physically, another officer pulls him back from helping the bleeding elderly man. And everyone there, all those officers, they are so focused on closing ranks in a literal and metaphorical sense that they either cannot recognize or will not recognize what their brethren just did and what humanity and compassion and serving and protecting is required of them in that moment. Nope. Instead, they are on war footing. And other than calling for a medic, which they do, they keep marching forward. And you may expect afterwards to see them walking to some huge sea of unruly protesters they are all geared up to face. But they just go after this one guy. There's barely anyone else even there. It's just a handful of people walking down the street. All of it is right there. The gear, the militarization, the warrior mindset, the inability to police each other, all the worst impulses succeeding over the best impulses. And then to top it all off, immediately after it happened, the Buffalo Police Department has the gall to initially claim that the 75-year-old man was injured when he tripped and fell, as though on his own. Even after 2 officers were suspended amidst the massive outcry, the police union president had the gall to suggest the man just slipped. Thankfully, Martin Gugino's attorney says he is now in serious but stable condition. But anyone who's been paying attention to the news knows this is far from an isolated incident. And this kind of violence that we're seeing there, it has been visited on African American, Latino, brown and black folks for years, for decades, even longer. I mean, think about what's happening now while the cameras are out. What do you think happens when they're not there? We've seen so many disturbing videos in the past 11 days, it's hard to keep track. Images of violence perpetrated by the police. And I know police, the police, is a massive oversimplification of a term to describe hundreds of thousands of our fellow Americans. I talk to police officers a fair amount. I've reported on police and policing for years, and I know there are so many good people out there wearing the badge. Decent and compassionate people, people who want to serve and protect, people who are embedded in the communities they police. As individuals, as human beings, these stories, like all stories, they are complicated stories. But what we are seeing with our police reminds me so much of what happened with another institution I feel personally close to, the Catholic Church. And I come at this from a personal place. My father was a Jesuit seminarian for years before he met my mom. I was raised in the church. My great uncle was a famous priest in the Chicago area. And when the crisis of child sexual abuse happened, the priests that perpetrated it, they were a small sliver of the priests overall. But what became clear is that so many of the other priests had simply refused to step in. They refused to police their brothers. They refused to grapple with the reality of what was happening in front of their eyes, the evil being committed in front of them. They looked the other way. They lied to themselves. They forgave too easily. And it came very damn well near destroying the church in this country and other countries. It still hasn't recovered. You know, there's a reason people use the cliche of the bad apple. You hear it all the time, though people always get it wrong. People say, well, yes, there are some bad apples when talking about police officers. The whole point of the cliche is that a few bad apples spoil the bunch. And there is something rotting with policing in America. And in that video of Buffalo, you can see the bunch being spoiled.